to the explanation of the ha-inyan who.
Okay, super.
Just below in the middle of the page, a few lines below, Samach Tes, the line begins with ha-inyan who. We finish saying, Moin ato ho yisalonu b'devadev, that the bechira is an element that comes directly from the etzem itself, atzmus. And the bechira is both, is one from the atzmus and has on the basis of the etzem. And this is what he's going to explain now. The ha-inyan hu. The line begins with ha-inyan hu. That's it. To understand this more, so to speak, in detail. Ki hinei iker bechinas ha-bechira v'ha-avdola ben pnimius l'chitzenius. The principal aspect of bechira, of choosing an Havdalah and the separation, identifying pnimius versus chitzonius. Who it is, where is this taking place? Ben pnimius horotzim v'ha-tynug. The distinction there is between the pnimius horotzim, the pnimius of the rotzim and the tynug. And what does pnimius horotzim and tynug mean? Shekol atzmoi mekusha v'ne'elam boy, but his whole essence is bound and is contained, concealed within that oinuk. Or chitzonis, as we said before, which is for some other ulterior reason. As we have pointed out quite often, that again, this is something which is difficult for us to even to focus in, because all our identities, all our experiences, all our experiences that we are aware of, not all our experiences, our experiences that we are aware of, have a reason why we are pursuing something, and what the consequence is that we are looking for. You point out a very interesting phenomenon. Even getting out of bed in the morning, which one would think is a perfectly wholesome thing for a human being to do. Nevertheless, even there is an admixture of, okay, what gets me up? What am I interested in? What is the point of getting up? Where am I going? What's the entices for getting up? Some kind of a in reality, there's no need for such a reason. Because as soon as day breaks, the person wakes up, then the soul wakes up, and you must participate in daylight, in daytime, for no other reason than to participate in this godly reality, which is an essential need in the person. But again, this is something which is quite elusive. Bayas, in our experience, and this is why Bayas it is necessary to make that emphasis. When we talk about the way the Yonim are in truth, in Atmos or Lakus, there is no ulterior reason or motive or motivation. It is the essence itself that chooses what it chooses, because this is something which is represented, which is what it is. Like we say in human experiences, we just now finished saying, I don't need a reason to live. I don't need a reason to participate in life. Even though this is an active thing, yes, that's the state of the reality of life, that I'm always in an active state. This active state is not active versus inactive. In other words, there is not an inactive state in life. Life is active, period. In its very essence. There's not a moment when life is not pursuing life. This activity, therefore, is a different kind of activity than we are identifying in our world. Activity versus inactivity. Light versus darkness. This is pure light itself. Using this as an introduction to understanding the following, says that there is a distinction, a determination, and a selection of pnimis versus chitzenis. And what is the pnimis? Not I don't remember, because I have the other class also. Nelamboy means that which is concealed within him. What is that concealed? What does concealed mean? Concealed means that something is active in a concealed state, manner. The very presence of it is active in a concealed way. To illustrate this concept, again, it's totally within our experience, but we don't think of it. A person stands up. There is clearly a spirit that makes him stand. The spirit is active. He can stand perfectly still. Where is the activity? It's activity which is concealed within the essence. And what does it mean it's concealed? Why is it concealed? Because it's deeper than being expressed in active. This is just determining the reality itself. This concealed activity, active state, is a constant state of activity. So that, for example, a person is sitting. Then he has to get up. Does he then change venue? He has to wake up and say, oh, yeah, no, there is such thing as standing up, such thing as walking, such thing as doing things. It's not a change of venue. It's as if he was walking all the time, but he was sitting still. In a concealed sense, he was walking all the time. He was doing everything all the time. He was talking, he was walking, he was eating, he was listening, he was thinking, everything. But he concealed well. All of his activities, the entire spectrum of soul activity was present all the time.
Do you think this only in Pnimis? In
This is the
we don't
Pnimi,
have
huh?
that. But in Chitzonis we don't have that.
The Chitzonis, that's what the Pnimi is. Pnimi is.
So in eating,
Eating is also Pnimistic eating. I would say if you eat for a reason that's not eating is, like we say, okay, you mentioned that in order to be in the world, you have to eat. To be in the world is a Pnimistic eating for the person. Then asking a question, why do you want to eat? Why do you want to be in the world? There is no why. This is the godly mission. This is the godly definition of who I am.
So what's Chitzonis? What's going to work?
Chitzonis will say Chitzonis is that which is done for some to support the pnimis. Like we say, the table is the board, but it needs legs to hold up the board. Nobody cares about the legs, but they serve a purpose. They come secondary. Once you have a board, you say, okay, who's going to hold up the board? But nobody conceptualize initially the legs. This is what we're saying now. Neshamas Yisrael, Torah. This is the pnimius of the world. We have spent so much time on this. Let's get into it. A home consists of physical structure, very accommodating, and so forth. What is the pnimius of a home? In other words, when we see a home, what are we seeing? The structure? What makes us aware of it? The human element. The inyan adam she'en Beis in the adam, that this home is making a human being into a human being. This is human reality. This is what we are observing. This is what we're relating to. This is the pnimius. To observe the structure and all the engineering feats that went into this, and how much mortar and how much work went into this. This is chitzonius. You may be mispoiled from it and all that. It's absolutely chitzonius. This is rampant in our experience, and it is important, very important, that we stay on the pnimius perception. You see a bridge. This is something which actually came about in a long time in discussion. You drive over or under one of these huge bridges, George Washington Bridge or Verrazano Bridge, huge bridges. Who would ever dream of making a bridge, 5 miles long. It's beyond. What are we observing? The engineering feat. We lose the whole message. What we are observing is the human perception, spirit that says, no, the whole world is one place. And wherever I need to be, I'll be there. Why? Because it's my place, my world. And I'm going to make it happen. This is an element that's called nelam within the reality of the human being. B'chitzonis, you see, okay, how are we going to do it? Is it possible to do it? Where are the resources? Where is the finances? But what is the real spirit? What does it represent? A total pneumis, a sense of reality that doesn't manifest itself. Only our intellect can perceive it. And that is what we should be perceiving. This is the world in which we should be living. You know why? Because this is the world that God created. The other world is in vast nothingness. This is the world that represents. Yeah, this is a godly world. That's why we have to. This is what we should be attending to. Okay, so let's go back inside. This is the kusha. The nelam boy. The word nelam comes up very often, and this was the time to identify what is meant by nelam. Nelam means a full array of activity that you don't even, the one who is going through it doesn't even know about it. This is part of his nature, part of his reality. Where does he get it from? This is how God created him. This is the godly presence in him. This is the godly spirit. So disturbing the difference between the pnimius, shekol atzem mekusha v'nelam bei, uvein hachitzonius, and then identified it versus the chitzonius. What is chitzonius? Chitzonius shoras mataynik. The chitzonius shoras she'enei bo, which has not come forth, rag b'derech agav bilvad. It only comes b'derech agav. Derech agav means as a byproduct. As a byproduct. We said before, the legs on the table is a byproduct. The support on the bridge is a byproduct. The cables on the bridge is a byproduct. Who needs the cables? As an essential level.
In the home, where the whole person is, what's there? Even the furnishings are panemius. What's the containers there?
We spoke about this. the home makes him into a home. Once it's a home, then it gets furnished. You don't build a home in order to bring furniture. But once he is living a human life, then all the amenities that a human being can use that bring out all the various qualities of a human being are becoming available. So this is nevertheless b'derech hagam. The home, we said many times, maybe there's a deeper in but the way I perceive it, he has to have a definitive place in this world. He has to make a declaration, this is my world. This is the home. Inside could be comfortable, I don't know, but the Magid, there was not a bench in the house. Okay. The chooser and the distinguisher, who distinguishes between these two very subtle elements? They are both necessary. Like I said, a bridge without the cables, without the supports, you wouldn't venture on it. It's impossible. But nevertheless, there is the pnimis and the chitzonius. What distinguishes between them? Hu atzmus. It is the atzmus itself. Shemabdil b'nei ha'pnimis v'chitzonius. That separates between the pnimis and chitzonius. Like we said many times, going back to on the human level. Just now about the bridge, what is a car? A car is representative of the human perception that he can be and has the so to speak, the impetus to be any place in the world. Used to be a horse and chariot, now it's a car. Then there is the whole structure, and then everything comes along with it, all the way to the point where the car becomes just a racing car, which is losing completely its pneumius value. But what is the human element in the car? It's completely, it's justice. This is what opens him up and connects him to the rest of the world. A bicycle too. As for example, when a person wants something, he does not want this thing at all in his essence, at all. Because he is categorically removed from this thing. He's in a different category, in a different level. Rak, only. For the sake of the pneumius of the rotzim v'tynug, that part of the wholesome tynug which where this whole nefesh is actually expressed and contained in this wholesome tynug, there's definitely that level of tynug, of wholesome tynug. Shekol atzmei boy, atmos nafshi boy. Because of this pnimis wholesome, shekol atmos nafshi boy yirtze. As a result of that, he will also want gam bedover hatofel b'derech hag. He will want also this dover hatofel, this secondary thing b'derech hagav, on a secondary level. May, as for example, the shvil horotzim v'hatynug hapnimi. For the sake of the pnimis, the tynug and rotzen and tynug. B'mishta she'esel ibnei yichidei b'chasonosei, in a feast that he makes for his bnei yichidei, for his sole son, b'chasonosei, at his wedding, shu someach u'misaneg v'etzem pnimis nafshoi, where he rejoices, u'misaneg, and he delights in the very essence of his nefesh. I'm going to finish this thing and then maybe you'll... Harehu, as a result of this, Harehu roitze, therefore he wants shekulam yisbu, that all guests, everyone should be satisfied, v'yisangu b'sudosu, and they should delight in the sudah. Gam orcheikim imani, even those who are distant from him. He wants all to rejoice and be satiated. This principle that besimchas bnei, the Rebbe said bnei yechidei. There is a word about bnei yechidei. Bnei yechidei is that every son is a yochid. Every son is a ben yochid. Person has 10 sons. Ask him if he can do without any one of them. Not any of them extra. And this thing we discussed on the previous page. The oineg b'bnei is not just a reflective oineg, but seeing him any kind of, so to speak, of appreciation or interaction. The simcha, the oineg b'bnei, the oineg b'bnei is on a much deeper level, but there's similarity in this, what we said before about a car. A car is that which gives a person, which reflects the human perception that the whole world is his platform. We've said many times that a person walks on the street doesn't walk on the street. A dog walks on the street, on a line. A person walks on the entire world. But of that, he has this as part of the whole world. This is where he's walking. That's a human being. B'nai Yechida, B'nai, his son, similarly, son is the eternity of the human being. Not because 10 generations from now, this is going to be remembered. He currently has, the person is, in every moment, much bigger than meets the eye. And this Inyan is manifest in his children, and it's manifest in the Simchas B'nai Yechid. But the Simcha has no boundaries, has no bounds, it has no explanation. It is, for the lack of a better way of expressing it, it's experiencing his own reality. Not because of projecting anything, but because this is a deeper reality that is surfacing now. So when he has this simcha, the simchas b'nai yechide, which is the essence of the person, then that incorporates, that spreads on a broader scale, which we'll have to leave for next time. Okay, have a great day.
Where do we get to?
Tanu,